We had a small free talk, but here's another episode of Cock of the Walk, and this is Thursday.
Hey,
good morning, everybody. Welcome to Thursday on Cock of the Walk.
Everybody, there's nobody's listening.
No. I post an episode. Here's the thing, man.
Yeah.
And this is as blunt and cold as it can get. If it's nothing more than us venting to preserve our sanity, then fine. Then the two people it helped were you and I. You know what I mean? Like if that's the best. And again, I know when we first started, I said if it does go nowhere, that's similar to a Half Moon Day song, which means, and this is something I don't know if you get to be a celebrity if you're born into a certain place. I mean, you hear, like I worked from the bottom, now I'm at the top, right? But then when I see celebrities that I like, people in bands, it seems like, oh, your uncle was Joe Rogan, and you're like, oh, so they had a connection?
Right place, right time, right situation.
But what about the whole concept of it's not what you know, it's who you know?
Yeah, well,
and so in order for me to progress, it won't be, no matter how talented I get, talent may be a factor. People might say, hey, I like this kid's talent, but somebody who knows something or knows someone needs to see me exhibit my talent, and then I know that person, and then it's true, it's who I know because I just met that person.
And then like I said, everybody will tell you it's about networking and who you know, and if you contact the right person at the right time.
Networking is hard for lazy introverts.
God damn it, you're right.
Lazy introverts don't get the best at networking, don't have the best networking skill. You think because of the internet, you'd be able to network better.
Oh, hit all your Facebook friends. There's 5,000.
Dude, okay, so like we said, like I have well over 1,000 Facebook friends, if that's what we're calling them, right? Most of these people I take, sometimes if I'm not on the internet, on the interweb, I don't do the whole like happy birthday. But even if I don't really know or understand who the hell you are, I'm the guy who goes, happy birthday, happy birthday. Yeah. I at least try to say happy birthday to anyone because it pops up, and I'm bad with birthdays, but it feels good, a little drop of dopamine to get your happy birthday. So I try to give that to people. Yeah. I assume I'm not the only person doing that. There's this guy named Michael, that's one of my friends, and it seems no matter what I post, he says, he likes it.
He'll have a comment or hit like.
It's mostly a like. And I, over the time, kind of respect that and appreciate that. If he just does that through everyone, it's not like it means almost nothing to him. He's just bored and whatever. But to me, it's like, thanks for the dopamine, buddy.
You acknowledged it, yeah.
That's what, so I took that concept and went, what's it hurt to like somebody's thing? It's right there. Push the thumb. And what's it mean to share? It's 2 clicks over to share it. Push the share. And I mean, we talked about it. It's like people want to know a famous person, but they don't want to be on the journey unless if the journey was started somewhere else, not knowing that it is that assistance that helps start that journey.
Jump on the bandwagon type of thing.
Right? People want to jump on the bandwagon, but they don't want to be off the.
They don't want to be pushing the bandwagon from behind.
Yeah, they don't want to start it. They want to jump on after it's moving. That is true. That's a very good one. They want to jump on once it has momentum. Yeah.
And I have a friend, a guy I know who I believe has his own podcast. He's put things on Facebook. Have I listened to it? No. Have I liked it? No. Have I commented on it? No. So I'm just as guilty as the people I'm sitting here kind of complaining about. I'm not. If you're listening, hey, I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah.
But if you're not, this isn't going to matter anyway.
Yeah.
You're not listening.
You're not even listening to it. So you could, all you non-listeners, you can suck my balls. Yeah. But you do want, you want recognition. I think it is. It's a human desire, even with introverts, to be recognized. Yeah. And especially if you put effort into something and go, hey, look what I drew, look what I built, look what I said, look what I. And absolutely no eyes or ears are on it, you're probably going to be like, huh. I mean,
well, again, if we're going to go down this road, let's bring up a little bit of history.
Okay.
My podcast history.
Okay.
I came up, and you've listened to it. You didn't even listen to all 3 of the episodes I recorded.
I didn't even know you had 3 episodes, but I know you had 2.
So anyway, recorded 3 episodes with an idea for an actual charitable endeavor.
It was called free money.
Free money. Come and get your free money.
Yep.
And the short version of it was that if, pretty much the idea behind it, but it snowballed into a little something different, but the idea was, if you're my Facebook friend, you'd be willing to give me $5.
Because you're my friend, give me $5.
Because you're my friend, give me $5.
What's $5 out of you?
Right?
Yeah.
And then if you're a Facebook friend who is hitting a hard time and you need money, well, I just got $5 from 20 of my friends. Here's $100. I'll help you out.
So
right?
now, someone has $100.
So basically, I'm a bank for people that hit a hard time.
Are you loaning money or are you giving it away? Donation.
Free money. Here
free
you go.
money.
It's charitable, right? Charitable.
And I told you when I heard about that, all the ways that could go south. But okay, keep going. But you're focusing on good people will do good things, and the bad people won't even be on my side.
There is a whole concept behind the good, the bad, the ugly. What could happen, and that might make for interesting content. Blah blah blah. The short story was, if I give you money, share a story, and I'll share your story with other people.
So what if it was me? What if you got it from all your friends and family, and you're like, I got this guy, I'm gonna give Brendan $100. Then what would you want from me?
Brendan, tell me your story. What are you gonna do with this $100? Boom.
And how do I have to really like
send me an email?
An email about what I did?
2 lines. Say I intend to go buy cigarettes. Whatever.
Oh, you could do that.
That was the whole thing.
I finally got a meal a seafood dinner. That's what I got from it.
Do what you want with this money. That was the whole premise.
But share your story in 2 sentences.
Share your story. So then if you're like, well, I gave you $5 and this sucker went and bought a seafood dinner, what the hell?
Sorry, I sneezed.
But it could have also been, I gave this guy $5 and he helped family get winter coats for their kids.
Oh, yeah.
Like something good could have come out of it, And then it was like feel good through proxy.
You're hoping that the people who receive this money don't squander it, that they actually have a story to tell and they're actually appreciative. And this was like...
But the stories of the people that are hedonistic and selfish would have also been entertaining. That was the idea. It was like, well, it could tick you off. It could entertain you. It could be like, I gave that guy $5 and he just threw it to this jackhole. Or I gave this guy $5 and he helped.
Did you want them on the podcast to say what they did, or did you just want an email, like no broadcasting?
Just tell me a story.
Yeah.
You want to call and leave a voicemail, whatever. It was just a way to get it back out.
Now this is just, I maybe even wishful thinking. Maybe I'm just completely just trying to puff myself up.
Yeah.
If I really did receive a free $100, I would most likely pay a bill with it. Maybe a cell phone, maybe insurance, maybe catch up on some child support. That's what I would do with it. No joke.
My thought process behind it was that if you really, really needed money, you have to basically put yourself out there to ask for it.
Yeah, and shamelessly almost, but not really shamelessly.
You wouldn't ask for it to just go squander it.
Some people would, for sure.
But if
I like alcohol.
But that was the hook. That was the the good and the bad, right? Yeah. So it was like that would be entertaining.
I wouldn't, if I was gonna screw you over, I wouldn't give you my real name. I would take your money. I would say, what I spent your money on was it's in my bank account. Ha ha ha.
Hey.
And then you'd be like, hey, Jim Smith from Oregon
just took $500.
Just took our money.
And hope you guys.
And now the podcast is bankrupt.
I had a system. I had a system to where I had a plan that it wouldn't go completely bankrupt.
$100 is the cap. So even if you got like
to start with,
even if you got like 50 people all to give 100 and you had $5,000, you get $100 till I get your story.
I had it all thought out.
Okay.
I really did. I put some effort in it. Go listen to the podcast if you find it. Good luck.
It's free money.
Free money podcast.
I've looked for it, and there's so many free money ones. So maybe you have to change the free money with a number behind it. Sean's free money.
Well,
maybe add Shaun and then say Sean's free money. You could change the name of your podcast, I think.
So this swings back to the notoriety, the people following, the hitting your audience, right?
Yeah.
My intent was, people will listen to this, people will latch on, and people will get this ball rolling. I recorded 3 episodes with the intent of my 4th episode is going to have to be a story from somebody who's received help.
That it would catch on that fast, right?
I had no inkling that it was going to be this incredibly difficult.
And by difficult, you mean it never worked out, and it's not even in existence much anymore.
I mean, I spread it around to everybody I knew. I hit every one of my Facebook friends. I talked to people at work about it. I shared it with people that, you know, had no way of even listening to it. But I'm like, here, do this. Here, like, I'll give you my phone. You can listen. Right?
Really?
And nobody...
Would you say cared? Yeah, no one cared.
My wife signed up for $5 a month.
So you got, you put money into your own stuff. So so you tried your best. Do you feel you tried your best, to be honest? Do you feel you could have done better in retrospect? What?
Knowing what I know now, it wouldn't have been 3 episodes. Because to get listenership, to get a support group, to get that type of thing, you're going to need to have some type of start, some type of base, some type of like wide net that you can cast.
Yeah.
And if I hit 500 people and I get 1% listening, well, 5 people might listen.
Yeah.
And then out of that 5 people, what if, you know, I get 1 person that'll donate? That's 200 people that I hit and I got 1 person to donate.
Yeah.
What if I hit 1,000 people and 2 people donated?
So you need to scale that kind of business
I had
platform.
no idea how.
So here's 2 things I would like to say about that. One, I just mentioned the name Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
And he has a podcast, and a lot of people know of it, even if they don't listen to it. It's a pretty popular podcast. I didn't listen to that podcast till probably 5 years or more into its existence, right?
Exactly.
So by the time I actually looked up, like, okay, so he has like, maybe I think it was Jim Carrey or some guy. I was like, I want to hear him talk, like a guest on that I liked. I was like, okay, let me see. Episode 1472.
Catalog? Yeah.
And I'm like, how long are these episodes? 3 hours plus.
Yeah, that's like a year of my life just to listen. Yeah, I'm not listening to all that shit.
So to me it was like, well, I guess I will. And then it's like on YouTube, I'll get the snippets of the 15 minute snippets of an interview. So to sit there for an hour, I think maybe we have like 8+ installments, right? And each one's an hour. That's 8 hours of your life. That's a whole season of like a TV show from Netflix.
Possibly.
You know, you're just sitting there listening to people talk. No action, no it's just people just blah, 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 blah. My life sucks. No, my life sucks. I'm going through the divorce. No, my life sucks. I don't like my job differential.
But, but I work at night and I have the capability of listening to my phone, and I put on a podcast and let it roll. And that's how I consume. I go to back catalogs. I look at things that have 100, 200 episodes and start from the beginning, because I know I'll be invested. I can binge, you know what I mean?
You can binge listen. That's the thing. So if your job allows you to binge listen, that's who's really absorbing podcasts.
That's how I do.
No, it kind of seems like then the audience that we're looking for would be right, because it's the working class who's loading a truck right now.
Yeah.
And when you're loading that truck and you're listening to us, we want to know what you think. Specifically you, not your boss who's sitting in the office chit-chatting. You who's listening to the podcast going, who understands me more than,
or the
these
stay-at-home mom or the stay-at-home dad that's, listening to while they clean, or washing their car, or doing the laundry.
And think about what would happen if you got a divorce. How would that change your life?
Forced to go back into the working,
right now, and during a pandemic, or during a time where it was hard to get hired, and you're like, hey, my resume has a 3 to 5 year gap of employment, and everyone went, oh, so you're just lazy for like 3 to 5 years?
Well, and heaven forbid, say your loved one, falls ill or dies or is in an accident, and you're thrust into, I have to provide now.
Oh yeah.
That could be a situation like, what would you do if blah? Yeah.
Tell us if that is your situation. I would like to hear. I wouldn't like that's happening, but I would like to know what your story is, because that situation is where this podcast is kind of coming from with the mental health. How are you coping with that? We would understand if you were sad and you listened to this podcast and went like, your guys' problems are nothing. Do you have people dying? And then Shaun could probably tell you about the time where his wife was sick, and I could tell you about the time where I lost a very, like, one of the top people in my life, and I could talk to you about death if that was it. Second thing was about your podcast, I would have limited that to kids. I would have said, to get the parents involved and everything, what's your kid need $100 for, because one, kid problems are less expensive than I need $100 literally to pay one cell phone bill. You know, you're like, what's your kid? My kid needs soccer cleats. My kid needs a new instrument, and you're like, okay, those are lower things.
But the hook,
and then if someone's taking your money, you're like, you're taking money from what needy kids. That would have been my thing. Like, stop taking money from needy kids, Carl.
But one of the hooks that I actually used in the podcast was a quote from Howard Stern's movie Private Parts.
Oh yeah, Jenna Jameson was in that.
Oh yeah,
sitting on a subwoofer. Okay, keep going.
But the whole thing about the Private Parts was, right, the quote from Howard Stern, I'm going to paraphrase, obviously, was guy was interviewing, I think, Baba Booey or somebody who, you know, produced the show or whatever, right? It said the average listener who likes Stern, you know, listens to Stern for about an hour at a time.
Okay.
And the you know, when asked why, their answer is, I want to see what he listens to or what he's going to say next. The average person who hates Stern listens to him for about 3 hours a day.
Oh.
The answer to why they're listening to 3 hours, I want to see what he says next. It's the same answer for the good and the bad. I hate Stern, but God, what's he going to say? He's got me on my seat so I can hate him.
Is that what's going on in politics now?
But right? So let me roll that into the podcast, the hook of the podcast, right? The idea behind it was, if I did good, that's going to make you feel good, but if somebody did something bad, that might piss you off, but it'll piss you off into action. Or it'll piss you off into doing something. Or it'll just piss you off. But you'll tune in next week to see if you're going to be pissed off again,
or to see if that person got their comeuppance, in a sense.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
I think you're that. Okay, that's a pretty good.
Not.
I've seen the movie, and I don't remember that line, but that's a great. I have no reason to believe that's not true, and I feel like that's human nature, because that's what's kind of happening, man.
Yeah.
People that aren't supportive of the current candidate wants to watch so much and hang on every word, because they want the plane crash, they want to see the downfall. And the people that do like it, they probably watch less because
they know what's coming.
Things are going good. Things like, well, whatever, dude. What do you say next? Oh yeah, that's fine, no big deal. That makes so much sense.
So that, again, I thought it was a great premise, a great hook, but a poor execution, because I'm going to throw this out there and people are going to latch on.
That's what we're doing, essentially. I mean, there's yes, I posted to my Facebook, Twitter, and other. I mean, it'll be on the website, my Half Moon Day, www.halfmoonday.com.
The premise of continuing this podcast isn't based upon listenership.
Oh yeah, it's not based on someone else. It's really based off of, do we get up and put on our walking shoes and do another walk? And if we do, we get another installment. If we don't,
I told you this morning, I don't want to go for a walk. Just get on your shoes. Let's go.
I got to talk to you about two things. One thing that I'm sure if you look through these, you'll realize there's a theme with me and employment. Yeah. So now I'm going to that land of opportunity, America, and picking out what my skill set is. My skill set is in the general realm of entertainment. Some of it's music. Sometimes I could do voices. I like to make people laugh. I legitimately like to see people laugh and smile. And
you even talked about doing a comedy routine.
I like comedy. I like to get into comedy. Too bad the open mics are kind of like gone the way of the buffalo from the pandemic and everything. But that's just is, even my business, production can't really produce if I can't go to a site, because the site's either closed down or no one's there to be interviewed, or so today, rather than sulking and not being able to find employment, I'm going to try busking.
Yeah, and I said, hey, why don't I come along?
You're going to come along with? I'm sure there'll be a video of it, or at least an audio, or some version of documentation.
It's probably going to be horrible.
I wouldn't assume it's going to be world class.
Yeah.
But it is a step rather than a decline. It's a step forward. Rather than sulking and wondering why. In this, we talked about why trying to find a job on the internet is so fruitless.
Yeah.
And I've applied, I'm going to say it over 100. I'm going to say, and I don't count them, but
your numbers are low, buddy. Get your numbers up.
I don't know, over 100, especially when they're the one-click apply, because you've already filled out your whatever resume. Yeah, and it's like you're one click away, and you click it. It maybe makes you do like a little assessment, but even it saves your assessment answers for the next time you have to do an assessment. And so I've clicked blah 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 blah. I clicked probably over 7 today, just like before we went on. Like, let me just get these ones in real quick. And then I do follow. If someone says, hey, we think you'd be interested in this opportunity, I follow up to the point where I get so much spam emails now, so much junk emails about things. And then I've also gone to the point where I've got to the interview, which I have talked about, and they said, oh, great. Let's just run your background check and your drug screening and make sure you have a driver's license and 2 forms of ID, and you're fired. I was like, wait, I didn't even get hired. You're fired. Yeah. Okay.
See, my analogy for that approach is trying to hit a 200-yard target with a shotgun.
Yeah.
One bullet might get there, maybe, right? But you don't have a sniper rifle.
No, I'm not using the right equipment then.
Exactly. So online applications, again, to find the right job, first of all, and then find one that's interested in you, second of all.
Yeah. And I prioritize that into who's going to either not do the background check, not worry about it, or where my issue.
You have to limit yourself.
Very few places are not going to do it. I don't know if those ones that have the delivery person jobs, because I know that the ones that I did apply for, the app ones, the rideshare ones, they were a hard pass. That and again, it's because it says pending. And then it has a crime, and that needs to be worked out, which really, not to vent or rant or whatever, it sucks for my life, because in this system, you're obligated, at least by the state's decree, to make $15 an hour for 40 hours per week. Okay, if you're not doing that, then you are either considered, or you may be considered, willfully unemployed or willfully underemployed. Now, all I can do is have a treasure trove of applications, denials, places I worked, and then have supporting documentation for it's not willful. That's all I can do is let the world know, listen, this is not willful.
Here's the 2,000 jobs I applied for. I got 1 response.
Correct. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so that's, and it's not like I'm sitting there and doing this so I can have documentation. I'm sitting there hoping that the end point is employment. It's just that when it turns out not to be an employment, or when I get so far down that rabbit hole that I'm filling out I-9s and stuff, just for it to be like, no, sorry, I can go, well, like, what am I supposed to do? And I have that trouble, that dilemma, and it needs to go away. Like you said,
you're not going to get a trophy for participation or effort.
And you're not going to get a paycheck or anything for that, right? Yeah. So, in my world, I'm just trying to see, like life hands you lemons, and here's my lemonade, and it's some form of artwork, some form of entertainment that I'm hoping people, like, just like your free money thing, people see and go, I could donate to that. That made me laugh. That entertained me.
Here's a great thing about when the life hands you lemons statement, right? You still need sugar. Where are you coming up with the fucking sugar?
Where are you coming up with the sugar?
Think about it. If life hands you lemons, you still have to have sugar.
You still need sugar, even if maybe water.
Get some bitter ass lemon water.
You're just gonna get some lemon water, dude. And a short story on that one. When I was in 3rd grade, outside my house there was a truck driver who was carrying fruit, and he carried lemons. And when he was headed into his house, this is in Riverside, California, me and my brother and my sister, we were like, can we have some of your lemons? And he's like, yeah, you can have some lemons. So we grabbed, lemons in our shirts, just like as many lemons as we could carry. Maybe went back for more lemons. We climbed up there to grab the lemons. It was just filled with lemons, the whole thing. And we started making lemonade. And we're like, dude, Dad's gonna be so happy that we could do a lemonade stand. We're gonna do this. Awesome. Now I'm in 3rd grade.
Yeah.
I don't know how to make toast. Okay, so I'm just squeezing lemons into a pitcher until the pitcher's full, and I'm like, boom, lemonade.
So just straight lemon, lemon.
Yeah, I gave it to my dad. He just spit it out. What the hell is this? Like, almost like we pranked him. I'm like proud. Like, I know it's a little tart, but I mean,
Look, Dad, I'm an entrepreneur.
yeah, like look at this business concept. And then he tells you got to put, water, and you got to dilute it with water and sugar. And I'm like, oh, well, I mean, for orange juice, you just kind of squeeze it into the thing, and you're kind of done with it. Yeah. So just some people don't know that you have to add something to the lemons to make it palatable.
That's it, man. When life hands you lemons, you need some sugar too.
You still need some sugar. Clever.
There you go.
Oh, you're full of so much knowledge.
Oh, wisdom from the elders.
Yeah.
Take it.
It's just bittersweet wisdom, huh?
Yeah.
How is it?
I don't think we've had an episode where we've addressed people like specifically like this.
What people?
The audience.
Oh,
right? It's like,
okay.
Listen, people, pay attention. We're talking to you.
We are talking to each other, but we're aware that the content is meant to be absorbed as well.
Please listen.
And that's why. Yeah, and that's why we're walking and talking. And again, it started with the good morning. We started with just chatting about grievances, I bet, and realizing that it was helping our mental health. And it still does. Like right now, it helps me to talk to you about these things so that I actually get into action. And because I guess I'm one of the #1 listeners of this, because
I download it because I want to hear what the hell we had to say.
Oh, like what we said and how it sounded?
Yeah.
I try to go through it again because I do worry that I speak faster than I think. And so I'm sitting here saying things, and within them, since it's mostly like maybe I could just call it hyperbole, like it's just a bunch of like what ifs and hypotheticals, and then when I listen back to it, it's, well, where are the kernels of truth within all this speech that I can focus on in making an improvement? And maybe that is stop complaining that you can't find employment, and use the land of opportunity to see if you can make employment, make it yourself, solve a problem, be the entrepreneur that you think you are, and solve a problem rather than look for somebody else who's already solved it and latch onto them for a paycheck.
Or just throw complaints against the wall and do nothing.
Sometimes that might be fair to do though, because other people are like, yeah, I hate that too. That's why we did the school ones, because there's got to be parents, and maybe they're not listening to this, maybe they're too busy, but they're like, this school nonsense is either a joke or it's garbage. And I'm glad that these guys have addressed that or exposed that. One thing I want to also talk about, I meant to do this a lap ago. Your wife did a GoFundMe talking about free money and talking about charitable things, right? And talking about school and connected it all. She did a GoFundMe. I put that GoFundMe out there. I spread it. Now I'll be honest, I didn't donate. I don't have, it's not I don't have any capital, but to do that would have been almost a hardship for me, So, but I did want it to get out there. I know people saw it because it was on my, it says, this is how many people saw your story. And it'll be like 60 plus people saw your story, and absolutely no one shared it. Maybe one person shared it, but no donations, right? So you're like, okay, whatever. I can see how people from a different state or a different area go, this is a scam. This is some person's way to milk the system or something, right?
It's not in my locale, so I shouldn't care.
Yeah, not my school district. Why do I care, right? Yeah. Now, here's the thing. From, like being as honest as I can, it was legit. She had no intentions of scamming anyone. Yeah. She had all pure intentions. She really wanted to see for the kids that were needy or needed this.
Well, it was to buy laptops for kids who are having a hard time.
But what happened to it?
You tell me. You probably know the story better than I do.
So from what I heard, what happened to it was that because it wasn't sanctioned, I'll use the word sanctioned by the school district. The school district had other plans or ways of wanting to do that. She had to shut it down.
She was told to shut it down.
She was
by the
told,
school district.
yeah, it was told, shut that down. Shut that down.
We have a plan for these kids.
Sorry that your generosity and charitable event is, you know, just that.
Well, here's my argument. My kids.
Uno más?
Sure.
Okay.
My kids didn't get no damn free laptop.
No.
My kids didn't get a benefit from the school district from there being a charitable fund or a plan to provide kids who can't afford laptops.
Correct.
My kids didn't get a free one. I didn't get a call. I didn't get an offer. I didn't get a letter. I didn't get an email, anything saying, do you need assistance with your child's education for a free laptop? No, my wife was legitimately trying to GoFundMe, get some funds to provide laptops for kids that are in a position that can't go to school, didn't want to go to school, wanted to do online learning, but didn't have the means.
And that's a totally legitimate thing. If you're in school right now, or you are a student right now, and you feel it's safer for your home, maybe you're like, personally not like as a 12-year-old to 16-year-old, I'm not worried. I'll live forever. But you're like, oh, but I am being raised by my grandma. Or my grandma is part of my people that live in my household.
Yeah, I don't want to bring something home to get.
She sits on the couch, or he sits. If it's grandpa, he sits on the couch and he likes to give me a hug, and I talk to him or her about my day. I don't want to come in and get grandma and grandma sick. So you go, okay, I'm going to stay home for the safety of my home. But we are, maybe that situation kind of beckons for. We are financially strapped, right? Now there are districts that have a 1-for-1 Chromebook. Thing. Good for them, right? Good for you. You have a 1-for-1 on your Chromebook. When they graduate, they get to keep it. Awesome. They're not all like that. No. So what I perceived was your wife going, yeah, well, ours is one that's not like that. We know kids that could use this. I'm not going to funnel it right to them. I'll funnel it to a district or to if I make it a district thing, then the district can split it away how they want or whatever. And then they turned around and said, just shut that down.
But it literally got 0 legs. Just like the podcast, my seriously true good intentions couldn't catch any wind.
So charities is, and that's the thing. What's up with charity? I mean, who but the people that we know and know us should support us? I mean, do you really need like Ellen and Oprah and these big heavy hitters that are going to write you a 6-digit check for your cause? Is that like the only way that charity is going out because it has to do with funneling money? Like, it's every charity have some kind of like let's make sure we get the taxes on it thing, when you guys are just like, hey, can't you put money into a basket? That's what you see GoFundMes of people who lost their job, and they're like, oh, boom, they made $10,000. People just started tipping in, and you're like, because they lost their job because someone like yelled at them because they didn't want to wear a mask, 10 grand for you, one person, 10 grand. And you see the other ones that are pretty cool that are like, they're like, hey, funeral expenses, someone died a tragic death and we're raising money for funerals. I say, okay, that's it. I mean, that sucks, but I appreciate people coming together. But what about, hey, education is going to be hard on some kids. We're trying to help them out, hook them up. If they're needy,
shut it down.
Nah, shut it down. Who cares about that?
And then on the other hand, on the other complete hand, another thing that kind of sparked this, okay, people should just be throwing money at me for a good cause, is I was watching a Twitch streamer with my son. I won't get into who or what. And as he was playing a game that anybody can play, and he's somewhat good, pretty damn good at it actually, but he was playing a game on Twitch. Somebody goes, here's $500. Boom, for playing a video game.
I like to watch you play video games. Here's $500.
He even called it out and said, I hope this isn't a typo. Oh my God, $500. Thank you so much. If it's an error, please let me know. I'll refund your money. Dude says, no, it wasn't an error. Here's another $500.
$1,000 for playing, because he likes the way he plays video games?
Boom. So I'm like, I want to do good for quote unquote friends.
That could have been 10 guests.
Yeah. I want to try to do good for my friends, for people I know, like people I have even a tenuous connection that are hurting. Here, give me money, and not you get. People help me support people in need.
Yeah. And they're like, nah, that's not entertaining.
Nah. Not here's 500. Oops, I meant here's 1,000.
Now is this? Now I had this came into my mind. Is it because the people and I don't know any good way to put this, so I'm just gonna say it and I'll correct it later, are just as poor and social economically strapped as you or around you, that none of them are 6-digit makers?
I don't think you need to filter that. I meant that was kind of the idea.
Okay.
You know, if you can, do. If you can't, ask.
Yeah, because if you're sitting in a community of millionaires and you're like, hey, you know, I'm just looking to try to get $100 per guest, and some guy's like,
can I write this off?
You know, like, here's a check for $5,000. How many can you get for that? And you're like, oh my, I can get so much. But you're not in that circle.
No.
I'm not in that circle. I bet you if I was in that circle, someone would say, hey, here's money for a father's rights attorney.
Brendan.
Here's, you know, like.
Brendan.
What?
If we get back to the house, can I borrow $5? Legitimately, can I have $5?
Yes.
Yes, because a friend will say
yes. Yeah, I'm honestly, because you just asked me, and I would, yeah, I'd give you $5. I'd give you I give you more.
I'll let you borrow $100, and this isn't free money. I'll let you borrow $100 if you.
You specifically, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because you're a freaking friend.
Correct.
Somebody I know. Like that was the plan. That was the whole get up. It's like just throw me a bone so I could throw it to somebody else. Again, maybe a poor execution.
That's the so you think, where did I go wrong that I couldn't get people's generosity?
Well,
and it's just the world that we're in. No one wants to. Everyone thinks they're going to get scammed.
Yeah.
And it's and they have a reason to believe that, because even I'll play a victim real quick. Even when you do one little slip up, your life's just thrown away. Yeah. There's scammers everywhere. I was talking about the dick pics. I'm sitting there trying to, you know, give a back rub, a body rub, or do yoga if you want a yoga instructor, or a spiritual guidance or anything.
Here it is.
Oh, I need a rub. I need a rub on this, and you're like, God. And you know, if you are listening, please stop sending me dick pics on Craigslist as a reply to my Craigslist ads. I don't need any more dick pics.
You know what's going to be hilarious though? If we actually do get listeners, guess what you're going to get?
I get a ton of dick pics, dude. Oh my gosh! And you know, so I'm so desperate for interaction that
we're not that desperate.
That it's like I just check my emails frequently. You know, like I'm looking for a job. I'm looking for interaction. Not maybe human interaction, but I'm looking for like a response from the world, that I get something like, hey, someone responded. Maybe they need. Goddamn dick pic. Oh, dude, this guy might. Goddamn dick pic. And then last night it was like, call me. I'd like to meet up, James. And you're like, God damn it, James. Who do you think I am? You know? I feel like doing my Charlie voice. I got all these dick pics, and I don't know what you should do. Like, I'm like, what's your dick situation? And then people are like sending me more. I got Charlie work to do. I don't know what to do.
Dicks everywhere.
Yeah, I can't believe that this is actually a thing. And that's Craigslist, dude. The Craigslist is filled with people who want to send you dick pics.
But you know how you said you listen back, right?
Mm-hmm.
I listen back, and I hope that I'm like, you know, you say, oh, share your stories. Like, I hope I'm some type of comic relief and not just a huge Debbie Downer.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'll tell you a little story, and it's like, oh, yeah, I can relate, or ha, that's funny. You know, that guy's kind of funny.
That one, yeah, maybe someone gets if someone gets a laugh, if people listen for a full hour to get one laugh, then it would be no difference than some of the Netflix comedy specials I've seen.
There's another joke.
Dude, I've watched a few of them and been like, not funny.
Dude, wasted so much time watching horrible
things. We watched some of the stuff that's not that. It seems like it'd be horrible because it's just two llamas with hats, and you're like, this is probably going to be bad, and then you Carl, and it's actually like,
if anybody has any clue what that is, you're laughing.
Yeah, llamas with hats, and you're like, what? And it progressively gets more destructive and demonic.
Baby hands.
Yeah, so if you haven't llamas with hats, is that what it's called?
Yeah, llamas and hats.
So that, and I thought, like, when you first put it on, like,
oh god,
thanks dude for wasting more time with how we are connected, and you know, the best guy at fixing a Rubik's Cube has autism, and look at all the glory he's on, and it's like, I get it, but my time, I need to look for a job, dude. But those were short and sweet, and
I think it was a total of 18 minutes.
Yeah, so that happens, you know. And I guess maybe that's, you know, you talk about joy. So we were watching one of my favorite shows yesterday.
Yesterday was
watching Arrested Development, one of my favorite shows. I'm so sad that they only had, what, 3, maybe 4 seasons because the Netflix one, right? And then maybe a movie. I don't know if that's actually a true thing, but it's a short run, okay? It should have been much longer. And they're doing the crane and the banana stand episode. And it wasn't even that's funny part, but it was the way that the room reacted. It was starting with your wife's chain reaction laughter.
Unloaded with like a belly laugh that I probably haven't heard from her in years.
It was great.
Even that funny.
It wasn't that funny, but she made it more she amplified how funny that moment was, and everyone's laughing, and you turn to me, and I'm like, yeah, no, I know that's funny. And that's when it hit me, like, why can't I laugh like that? Will I ever laugh like that again?
Will I ever find joy?
Yeah, it's because I talked to your daughter about it, like, why I didn't laugh as loud and hard as everyone else. It was because at that exact moment, I was thinking about all the laughter I will miss with my kids, and it's sad to go, hey. This room is filled with belly laughs. Like,
joy.
People are crying, they're laughing so hard. And I'm sitting there like, wow, I wish I could do that with my daughter someday.
And I thought you were deadpanning. I thought you were just like, yeah, okay, you guys can laugh, and I'm going to try to make this funnier by pretending not to laugh.
No.
So, like, I feel horrible now that I was laughing at your misfortune.
My misfortune?
Oh my God.
You weren't laughing at me. Well, you did turn to me like, when I was like, yeah, no, that's funny. And it was funny. Like, I watched the room.
I thought you were deadpanning it. I thought you were just, like, feeding
No, just dead inside, dude. Just like what's going on? And it's those kind of things, and those happen to me all the time. I'll be walking through the supermarket, and I'll see a little girl on her dad's shoulders, and I'll just stop and be like, wow. And again, it goes to, it doesn't have to be this way, but what other good way to attack someone you hate than to take away fatherhood from a person who was a good father and took it serious, and then not just to take it away, but make sure that narrative of dangerous bad father is out there. Like, what better way to really get to somebody?
And we just swerved right back into our lane, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to cut you off.
No, but that that's a thing that happened, and that's a thing I like to address because later on I did laugh. I laughed. We were playing Catan.
Oh yeah.
And I got a trade, and the trade resulted in the person who traded me no longer being able to build what they were trading me for. Just a little like, hey, I'll trade you 2 for 1. Cool, I'll do 2 for 1. Oh, I needed that one back because I was, hey, trade's been done, sir. Ooh. Yeah, so, and that made me laugh. I don't know why that makes that is funnier. It's not that I don't have a sense of humor. It's just that I get these realization moments of what I'm going to miss out on in the long run. Or maybe just what I am currently missing out on. Maybe it's not forever, but it's just what it is, and that just does. It makes me sad. I say sad, if you can put sad as depressed. It makes me depressed. It's not. Maybe that is a version of depression.
Find normal things.
Yeah, and that's a symptom of that. I do find joy, but I also get I have a broken heart. I mean, I think that's a symptom of a broken heart. You see, even couples. You see couples, and I go, oh man, what I miss about a cuddling or a kiss, or looking at somebody when you smile, and you smile with your eyes and not just like a smirk. Well, I miss that. I miss what that feels like and what that was like.
About maybe 20 minutes ago, I maybe inadvertently thought it as flirting. There was a somewhat attractive woman with her child. I thought, oh, maybe he's just trying to flirt, but then I'm like, hold on, wait a minute.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, when I said good morning to her?
Yeah, I thought maybe you were trying to flirt, but then I'm like, maybe he's just trying to connect with
another human. Who? No, I wasn't trying to flirt with her.
No, you were being nice.
She was preoccupied with her daughter. It seemed like she was having a good time. Her daughter was looking right at us, like, look at those 2 odd-shaped people.
Oh, I wave at kids all the time.
Yeah, and I waved to the little girl, and the mom kind of showed like, hey, wave hi, like, we're not a threat. And so then when the mom and I made eye contact, I said, good morning. Yeah. That was what that is about. But
no, like, that's where I was.
On to that, yeah.
You weren't flirting, but it was like, maybe you were
reminiscing.
Not even trying to, like, throw something into your head, but it was like, oh, there's
a
woman with her daughter.
That's exactly what I saw.
Look at that.
I saw a daughter. I saw motherhood.
Yeah.
And I watched it like a hawk, because I sat there like, oh, that's got to be so fun. I know what that was like. It wasn't like, hey, nice piece of ass, you know?
That's what I picked up on. I initially picked up on like, oh, she's somewhat attractive. Maybe he's flirting. But then I'm like, no, that's not what he's doing at all.
No. I'm glad that you realized that that it could have been flirting, but it, you know, as a guy, but one, it's not. I don't think like that way.
Your head's not there right now.
It's just not there right now. Yeah, no. And what I saw was another another thing where I'm absent, and that's just a bummer, man. It is a bummer. It's a constant bummer, and I don't pray, but I hope. I guess I have wishful thinking that that's not forever. I also have I'm coming to the realization that it was imposed, and it's not an accident that it's in my life. It's a intentional withdrawal of my children for someone else's benefit, and I just gotta play the game with the system, and one of those games is get a job, you know. And I know you were talking about separating out my issues, you know.
Yeah.
So one of those things that I do need to put on the back burner, as much as it hurts, is the grief of not seeing my kids day to day. I need to hope that it happens in time, that I'm not in bizarro world, that the world understands the importance of a father being in a child's life.
Your care is not going to diminish. You're not going to be like, oh, well, I'll just forget about my kids for a week or a day or a minute.
No, I won't.
Yeah.
No, but I will think about them constantly, but I can't every single day hope to see them in my arms, hope to hold them, because that's false.
It's an immediate situation that you can't remedy at the moment.
And what can I do besides the things I can do is figure out my finances, get to a point where I'm stable in both my mental health and my living situation, and I can make changes today, or I can put an effort today to better those areas.
So you can progress in the other.
But I can't do anything about the failed marriage today. It's like a misdemeanor if I even contact it, you know. So it's not like I'm gonna make progress in that. I can't do anything about seeing my kids. Like we talk about court order. All right, let court take its time and do its thing. My kids are young.
And the advice I gave you before is handle what you can handle today. Take care of what you can take care of today.
And that's advice I'm going to take today.
And it's not ignoring your other situation.
No, it's not.
It's just putting what you can handle in front of you and taking care of the situation.
But then you get blindsided by the stuff that you've been putting in the back of your mind.
I don't think so.
I know I do. I mean, I'm sitting there going, you know, don't think about how you're going to get the kids in your life today, because that's not real, blah, blah, blah. Let's just, you know, fill out applications, make some callbacks, make sure that my finances are ready to pay for the car, cash a check, write letters, do that. And then all of a sudden, everyone's laughing, or you see a father with his daughter, or life, you know, happens right in front of you. And it just takes you into this surreal moment of like, oh, okay, you got to push that out of your mind. There's nothing you can do about that. And so you move forward. That's what happens to me. I don't know what that's called. Reminiscing, moments of sorrow. But it does happen. And I have to address that, because that's part of my mental health. That's what I struggle with. And if a father has lost his custody or has lost visitation, you are heavily in your kid's life, you created a really strong bond the way I know I did. You probably have suffered that same type of symptom, where you're just going through life and you're trying to do your best, and something takes you out of that for a split second or a minute, and you feel like breaking down, even though it's laughter. You're like, how can I want to cry at everyone while everyone else is laughing?
Well, again, you know, addressing the audience, right?
Mm-hmm.
I said, share your story, share how, like, you know, how you're going through similar situations.
Yeah.
But what would even be more beneficial is somebody who's come out of it,
Oh, that would be so helpful. For me.
Yeah.
God,
to help
yeah.
us.
You would help me so much if it would help me in general. It would help me so much to listen to a father who says, you know, I was going through a heavy divorce. I lost
exact situation you're at.
the custody of my kids. The wife moved to another state, or, you know, like completely. Hey, good morning.
Good
Good morning. 3 doggies.
Be their friend.
Yay. They look beautiful. Where beautiful man. I was talking about the dog. Well, you know, some guy who went through it. You do have stories about the friends of your kids who have separated from their wives or something, and they're working out things, and they have Sunday dinner or something. The opposite of that, someone who separated from their significant other, lost custody,
and hasn't seen their kid in
hasn't seen the 10 more years, like thought it would be, you know, lost a bunch of money trying to fight the court, lost the court thing, lost the money, is feeling like a indentured servant because all they can do is work and pay child support, and they have no way to save money. If that's you, and I mean, it's not a beautiful story, but you want to share it, I would appreciate that. And if it is you, and you realize I had to look at what picture that is, didn't you?
That's odd.
Isn't that odd? I feel like, again, I mean, I'm stopping what I'm saying just because there's a straight up picture in the middle.
I'm going to take a picture of a picture.
Yeah, so we're walking on sidewalk, and there's just a picture frame with a picture on it, just sitting right there. Anyway, and now what I'm saying is, if you do have that experience, let me know if it turned out all right, or if you're still struggling through it. I know the concept misery loves company, but you know, it's that concept, misery loves company. I'd like to know what you wanted to do about it, how you hoped it worked out, who you think is at fault, if you're at fault, or if there's other parties at fault, like anything. I'd like to
hear the success story. Like
that's what I would want to hear.
The guy that got through it and was like, hey, it was hell, and I had to do X, Y, and Z, and here I am. Maybe you need to do X, Y, and Z.
See, I have a friend who had a child with a woman in pretty much his high school age. Okay, like maybe he dropped out of high school or whatever, but he had a child, and I'm gonna say his name and give him a shout out and let him know I talked to him about it on the podcast. Hank, what's up, Hank? Hey, Hank. He had a child, and he told me that because of how life went past like that moment, he didn't really have a good relationship with his daughter until recently. That he's trying to develop a relationship with his like near 16-year-old daughter.
Reconnect.
You know, like, and you're like, wow. And they're trying to build that, and it breaks my heart to think that, like, okay, well, here's your life now, and when your daughter's 16, then you can start building something. And it's like, okay, so when she's 16,
when you're 50,
she's supposed to know her ABCs, and she's supposed to know how to read, and she's supposed to know how to write and be developed in other skills, and she might even know how to play an instrument if she picked up music, and it's like, so I'm gonna miss all that.
That's when you get to reconnect.
Yeah, that's what I get to see. I don't develop those skills with you. I get to see you and maybe figure out how you can use them in life. And the problem with that, I mean, you get what you get, okay? You take what you know, that if that's the blessing I get, that's the blessing. The problem is, hypothetically, that person comes to me broken, and it's like, I'm ultra depressed, I got daddy issues, I'm promiscuous, I feel like I get abused in my relationships because I'm trying to keep the men around because you know, my father left me, I feel. And I'm like, baby girl, that damage isn't from me. That damage didn't come from me. I would have never allowed that damage to happen to you. You got to believe me, you know? I would have never, my whole worry was, if it's fair that I don't see you, it's still unfair that you don't see me, that you don't hold me. And I was trying, and that only makes a villain out of maybe both parents, you know? There's someone else to blame, and it's not me. Well, who else do I blame? I don't know, use process of elimination. You know, like.
But again, like I said, you know, keep writing those letters. Keep attempting to do anything you can to make contact and stay in contact.
I do wonder this. What do you think? If the letters are received and it's like, hey, I got your letter. Is it read out loud? Are they stored? I mean, I take a picture of them, and I have a little back catalog of what they said.
Well, here's the thing,
I have them typed, but I like that I send handwritten ones.
You have proof.
I have proof that they existed, that either on a little database of.
Well, let's say you write a letter a week until they're 16 or 18 or whatever it is that they decide that they're going to reach out, and you be like, look, honey, look, girls, every week your dad was still there. Even if you never got these,
sometimes I don't write one in a week, and sometimes I write 2 in a day. You know what I mean?
You just I was here.
I cared.
Even if you never got these, I made an attempt.
And if you did get them and they were read to you when you were 2 years old, and then they were discarded, is that bad? Does that speak to someone else's character if they read like, hey, I read you the letter, crumble it up, throw it away. I read it to you when you were 2.
That shouldn't matter.
When it's clear that the cognitive ability of a 2-year-old isn't there to actually
understand.
Yeah, and so like how a funeral's for the dead or for the living, these letters are for daddy for a later date. These letters are to preserve your daddy's love for when you can read them yourself.
Well, have you ever saved love letters?
I have a box full. I think I have a few love letters. I also have ones from my mother. That wrote me when she was going through a hard time. She wrote me letters, and I know I have those somewhere.
Exactly, but why'd you keep them? Nostalgia or like proof? No, it's a way to connect with your past, right?
Connect with the past. And when I got them in 3rd grade and I could read them, I don't think they would have nearly landed the way that if I opened that box and read it today would have landed on me.
So again, it's not proof. It's not evidence that you cared. It's a way to dust off the past and even just use it as a reminiscing tool.
And I think the ones that I have say a lot of the same stuff that I didn't really internalize at that moment. It's I love you, and it was like, no duh. I care for you, I miss you, I'm proud of you.
Of course.
No duh. And that's like the same stuff I'm writing in mine, and it never took notice of how powerful those things meant to be put in a letter, to be sent to me. Because I'm just reading it like barely. I don't like to read. I can't believe I have to read all these words. But now that I'm doing it myself, it's like, oh wow, this was my mom's attempt to hold on to what the bond between us, to like reach for it, for everything that she had, and all she had was a piece of paper and a pencil.
And see, I take every attempt that I can to tell my kids I'm proud of them. I attempt to tell, every day goes by that, I tell them I love them about 500 times. I see
that too. You say, hey, come in here, Ash. I love you.
Oh yeah, I mess with them even.
Yeah. Like, what do you want me to do? Give me a hug.
Yeah. So, I mean,
again, you're a good father. You're a good husband.
And I don't ever want a day to go by where they don't think that I haven't been proud of them.
Yeah. That would be hard. But anyway, I think we're on our way to the end of this walk. Anything that you guys you want to get besides your snippet that you give? Anything else you want to say real quick?
Yeah. No, I think I'm good. Again, hit us up on social. If you listen at all, if you made it this far through, thanks. If you listen to any back episodes, thanks.
Does the audio sound better now that I'm using this microphone?
The one thing you did say had to click.
Did you hear it?
Yeah, but it's gone.
Okay.
I think it's a bit better.
So if you like the audio better, you think we're doing a better job, if you like the content, if you like us to discuss something specific, anything like that, if you have a product or a picture, or you're an artist, you want to, or an artist, just if you could send it to us or put it on our YouTube comments or our Twitter comments, or www.cockofthewalkpodcast@gmail.com to interact with us. If you want to call in, I would definitely interact with you. You can be on the walk via my cell phone. Anything like that is something we're trying to reach out for. Obviously, the more views and the better exposed this is, the more maybe possible revenue I can generate to actually pay some of these obligations that are going to be in my life regardless.
Don't be shy, share.
Yeah, that's all I can say, right? So go ahead and do your sign off.
Again, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Thanks for listening. We appreciate everybody.
Thank you so much. Cock of the Walk Podcast.
Goodbye.
Hey, this is Brendan from Cock of the Walk Podcast. If you like what you heard, you can